So I've been seeing this comment from a lot of guys on some posts where it's something like, if I'm meant to be alone, then please take away my desire to be loved. And man, this is such a multifaceted thing that can be broken down in so many different ways. But I really just want to focus on a couple of things on this. Firstly, I do feel the posts that encourage this aren't necessarily healing for us men. I feel like they're weaponizing our loneliness and difficulties and strifes. I'd say it's mostly not healing. It's maybe like a small percentage of it is healing from the perspective that it's relatable. But beyond that, I don't think it addresses a lot of core issues, and it's missing a lot of key things. Now, I would be lying if I said that I haven't interacted with these sort of posts in the past, where I didn't find comfort in liking and kind of commenting on these posts. I've been in those trenches, I've been in those kind of dark places, and I feel like I've come far enough in my healing journey to be able to at least speak on it to other guys that are still kind of still at that depth, still feeling that sort of sadness. And I just want to remind you that, you know, if you feel deeply, your desire to be loved isn't a weakness. Because if you feel deeply, then it just means that you're going to hurt deeply, right? So in a way, you having to face this sadness, this loneliness is a gift, because in some ways you're being protected from what could be out there. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take risks, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, you know, pursue love or desire. That's not the message here. The message here is that if you do want to pursue that, you have to come from a better standing, a better presence. When you're asking for something from a place of sadness, you don't necessarily know what you're inviting in. And this is evident in many cases out there, where the guy does get the girl, for example, but maybe they're not compatible, maybe there's a lot of baggage, and you end up inviting unwanted trauma, which actually makes your situation worse. I want you to just recognize the greatness in having an emotionally intelligent depth and an emotionally intelligent place. Even if it is resonating with sadness and loneliness at the moment, just know that if you have this depth, it means that you at least have a starting place to start building a presence from. Because those of us who stay up at night and we overthink, and those of us that are kind of wondering day to day, like why is this happening to me, etc., just know that's actually in some ways a secret power. Because it's from this depth you can start building a presence, you can start building authenticity, start building who you truly are. Who are you behind the sadness, behind the loneliness, behind this mask, this protective kind of barrier that you've put? Because that's literally what it is. It's putting up this kind of, you're giving into the feelings of, I'm just gonna die alone, to avoid facing what is making you feel that loneliness. And a lot of it for men is that we need a vision, and we need a purpose, and we need alignment. We need something else, something bigger than us to focus on. For a lot of us guys, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I would say for a lot of us guys, when we don't have something set or fixed, that does end up being love. It just ends up like our goal in life tends to be, okay, well, you know, I've got a crap job, I've got whatever. The least that can happen to me is I find a nice girl. And this is the kind of thing I want to challenge. You're not out here jumping from person to person, right, looking for short-term happiness. I get that. I'm not saying people that do that are bad. You know, I'm not saying there's sin or anything crazy like that. I'm not trying to like alienate anyone, but I'm specifically speaking to those of us that think deep and feel deep, because doing that is actually it is very damaging. It would be very damaging, because we're a little bit more sensitive. I would say the majority of people that aren't like us are the ones that are in survival mode. They're the ones living kind of like day to day. Let me just go from this person to the next person, let me manipulate this person. You know, there's people out here promising others that, yeah, you know, I'll be with you, blah blah blah, but really they're just there for one thing and they go, you know. And obviously that can be its own video. But my point is, you're not that person, you're not that guy, and you should take pride in that. And it's easy to say, yeah, you know, F it, I want to become the villain, I want to feel what other people are feeling. But you got to ask yourself, what are you giving up in that process? Take like some animes. I mean, look at Vegeta. Look what Vegeta gave up to become Majin Vegeta. He literally gave up his cool self, but then his redemption and coming back to himself is what made that story and made that arc so great and so relatable. So you're not manipulating people. You're not jumping from person to person. You're actually being forced to face and recognize your demons. I think it's important to label it, because when you label something, you take away its power. It's when you don't identify something and you don't label something, you're letting it run free. But if you can put a tag on it, it gives it less hold over you. I want you to focus on getting past this feeling that you feel like you need to gain external experience to feel good about yourself, to recognizing that you need internal experience within yourself to attract good. I think it's so important to fall in love with the person you're becoming first before you try and fall in love with someone outside of yourself, because you don't know what life's going to throw at you. Then at least there's that little bit of solace that you can still come back to that person that you know you're becoming, that little space, that little kind of comfort zone in yourself. And you start to develop this internal experience, falling in love with the journey, falling in love with who you're becoming, who you might become, your potential. You know, you start to magnetize experiences and people towards you. Once you start magnetizing, you'll start entering into territories of abundance. Men with abundance don't act like they're starving. Sometimes you get reset to zero. Sometimes you do get things stripped away from you and you get put in a corner. And this is where you get rebuilt. And it's a refreshing narrative, because in the past, no one would even recognize, no one would even know how to look at this like this. But if you're feeling this now, you are being rebuilt to some degree. There is a space for you to develop it into. So yeah, just want you guys to think about that. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings in the comments below.